Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. First of all, I pay homage to Triple Gem, Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. I pay respect to Bhanteji here and dear novices and dear listeners. So today I am going to speak about one sutta, on a sutta called Lekha Sutta. Lekha means writing or inscription. So this sutta tells about three kinds of people which can be found in this world, regarding the person who get anger. Their anger is like drawn a line in a rock. This is a kind of person. And there is another person who get anger, but after some time his anger disappear, or it is similar like when a person drawn a line in a mud, but after some time it is effaced by or lingers by wind and water. This is like second kind of person. And third kind of person is like a person who is anger, but who get angry is like he drawn a line in a water. After some time it is effaced by water. Okay, so the sutta is like this. Here the Buddha starts the sutta. He says in the sutta, monks, there are these three types of individuals to be found existing in the world. Which three? An individual like an inscription in rock, an individual like an inscription in soil, and an individual like an inscription in water. Then how is an individual like an inscription in rock? So the question asked by the Buddha himself, and he answers it by himself. The very first individual like who is like inscription in a rock. So Buddha explaining about how is this person who is inscribed in a rock. So he answers like this. There is the case where a certain individual is often angered, and his anger stays with him a long time. Just as an inscription in rock is not quickly effaced by wind or water, lasts a long time. In the same way, a certain individual is often angered, and his anger stays with him a long time. This is called an individual like an inscription in rock. And how is an individual like an inscription in soil? Then the Buddha answered by himself. There is the case where a certain individual is often angered, but his anger doesn't stay with him a long time. Just as an inscription in soil is quickly effaced by wind or water and doesn't last a long time, in the same way, a certain individual is often angered, but his anger doesn't stay with him a long time. This is called an individual like an inscription in soil. So this person is like second person whom Buddha talking about. The third person, how is an individual like an inscription in water? The individual who is like a line which is drawn in water. How is he? So the Buddha explaining about the third individual. He says like this: there is the case where a certain individual, when spoken to roughly, spoken harshly, spoken to in an unpleasing way, is nevertheless pleasing, and contact and touch in the contact, and humble, just as an inscription in water immediately disappears and doesn't last a long time. In the same way, a certain individual, when spoken to harshly, roughly, spoken harshly, spoken to in an unpleasing way, is nevertheless a pleasing touch in the contact, and humble. This is called an individual